Mr. President, honorable judges, it is an honor to address you once again as the agent of the Republic of the Gambia. As you heard on Tuesday and this morning, the situation of the Rohingya in Myanmar is dire. The evidence from various United Nations bodies and independent human rights organizations clearly establishes the urgent and imminent risk of the recurrence of genocide that they face. The lives of these human beings are at risk. The Gambia may not be a neighboring state, but the Gambia has a keen and special interest in seeing that no group of people, including the Rohingya, suffer genocide. As a state party to the Genocide Convention, the Gambia has come to this court to protect its rights under the convention, to ensure that the erga omnes parties obligations undertaken by Myanmar under the convention are fulfilled. Those obligations not to commit genocide and to prevent and punish genocide are owed to the Gambia and indeed to all other state parties to the convention. Mr. President, honorable judges, the Gambia has been open about its dispute with Myanmar. We openly raised this dispute at successive sessions of the United Nations General Assembly. We have openly welcomed support for this effort from other states, including member states of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Indeed, it was from beginning to end the Gambia's initiative to table resolutions and form a committee and seek the broader support of the other 56 member states of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. The Gambia is proud to have the diplomatic and political support of the other 56 member states of the OIC and of other supportive states like Canada and the Netherlands, as the Gambia, in its sovereign capacity, pursues this case against Myanmar. It was the Gambia alone that sent the note verbal to Myanmar to clearly spell out the nature of this dispute and put Myanmar on notice. And it was the Gambia alone that has filed the application and request for provisional measures that is now before the court. Mr. President, honorable judges, the Gambia's request for provisional measures falls squarely within the Genocide Convention. We have shown that the rights of the Gambia that we are seeking to protect are plausibly connected to the measures requested. And we have amply demonstrated urgency and risk of irreparable harm. The Gambia urges this court, as the guardians of our moral and legal compass under the convention, to indicate the requested provisional measures. Mr. President, I shall now read out the Gambia's final submissions. Pursuant to Article 41 of the Statute of the Court, the Gambia, as a state party to the Genocide Convention, respectfully requests the court, as a matter of extreme urgency, to indicate the following provisional measures, which are directly linked to the rights that form the subject matter of this dispute, pending its determination of this case on the merits. A. Myanmar shall immediately, in pursuance of its undertaking in the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide of 9 December 1948, take all measures within its power to prevent all acts that amount or contribute to the crime of genocide, including taking all measures within its power to prevent the following acts from being committed against any member of the Rohingya group: extrajudicial killings or physical abuse, rape or other forms of sexual violence, burning of homes or villages, destruction of lands and livestock, deprivation of food and other necessities of life, or any other deliberate infliction of conditions of life calculated to bring about the physical destruction of the Rohingya group in whole or in part. B. Myanmar shall, in particular, ensure that any military, paramilitary, or irregular armed units which may be directed or supported by it, as well as any organizations and persons which may be subject to its control, direction, or influence, do not commit any act of genocide, of conspiracy to commit genocide, or direct and public incitement to commit genocide, or indeed of complicity in genocide against the Rohingya group, including extrajudicial killings or physical abuse, rape or other forms of sexual violence, burning of homes or villages, destruction of lands and livestock, deprivation of food and other necessities of life, or any other deliberate infliction of conditions of life calculated to bring about the physical destruction of the Rohingya group in whole or in part. C. Myanmar shall not destroy or render inaccessible any evidence related to the events described in the application, including or without limitation, by destroying or rendering inaccessible the remains of any member of the Rohingya group who is a victim of alleged genocidal acts, or altering the physical locations where such acts are alleged to have occurred in such a manner as to render the evidence of such acts, if any, inaccessible. D. Myanmar and the Gambia shall not take any action and shall assure that no action is taken which may aggravate or extend the existing dispute that is the subject of this application or render it more difficult of resolution. E. Myanmar and the Gambia shall each provide a report to the court on all measures taken to give effect to this order for provisional measures no later than 4 months from its issuance. And F. Myanmar shall grant access to and cooperate with all United Nations fact-finding bodies that are engaged in investigating alleged genocidal acts against the Rohingya, including the conditions to which the Rohingya are subjected. Mr. President, honorable judges, This concludes the Gambia's second round of observations. I wish to take this opportunity to thank you once again for your kind attention. I would also like to take the opportunity to thank all members of the registry, the court staff and security, and the interpreters for their dedicated work throughout the hearings. I thank you. And with your permission, Mr. President, I would like to take my seat.